Sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
Deva, sir.
Yes, sir. I can hear, sir.
Okay.
Sir, Vade sir is coming.
How to edit the profile?
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆದ್ರಾ? ಹಾಂ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಗೆ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಲಿಸ್ಟು. ಅದೇ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಇವಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ವಾಟ್ಸಪ್ಪಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ವಾಟ್ಸಪ್ಪಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಮಾಡಿ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ. ಒಡೆ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಬಂದರು. ಹಾಂ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, who will start your student, ma'am? You will tell? Harshini. Okay. Sir, ನೀವು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅದು ನಿಮ್ಮದು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಮ್ಮದು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಸರ್, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ನಳಿನಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅವರು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಲಿಂಕ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ.
ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ
ಸರ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅದೇ ಹರ್ಷಿನಿ. Harshini, planning student, can you start sharing your screen?
Present. Raised a hand.
I know you're raised.
Okay, then start with Evangeline.
Evangeline Sandhya.
Yes, sir.
You can share your screen.
Okay, sir.
ಹಲೋ,
ನಳಿನಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಅವ್ರು ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರಾ?
ಪ್ಲಾನಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಎವಾಂಜಲಿನ್ ಸಂಧ್ಯಾ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಓಕೆ.
Sandhya?
Sir, are the students ready now?
Yes, sir. Ready, sir.
Morning, everyone.
Students are ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Sandhya?
Good morning, sir. Sir, can you see my screen, sir?
No, it's not. We are not able.
Is it?
Now, yes.
Yes.
Now it is fine.
Yes, really.
You can make it full screen, please.
Yes, sir. So, can you see now?
Yes.
Yeah, Sandhya, you can start.
So, good morning, everyone present here, all the faculty, principal, and teachers. So today I'm going to present my thesis topic. So my thesis topic was green infrastructure for urban flood mitigation.
Continue.
So I'm not able to change my slide. So 1 minute, so I have some problem to share.
We're not able to see the presentation.
Sandhya?
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm not able to change my slides, sir.
Okay, you share with this mode only, I think.
Yeah. Okay, sir. I'll do like this. So, why I've taken green infrastructure, like why I've taken on urban flooding is because, so floods are an increasing havoc on a rapid urbanizing world with disproportionately higher impacts on the poor and the most vulnerable people. So there is an surge in the urban floods worldwide, thereby posing a threat to urban planners across the globe. So, what is urban flooding is? It is actually inundation of property in a built environment, which is particularly seen in mostly densely populated areas caused by rainfall on increasing amounts of impervious surfaces and overwhelming the capacity of the drainage system. So, if we divide these definitions into three components, we can see that urban flooding, it is caused by heavy rain, which is resulting in flash floods and falling on developed surface. So the heavy rain, it falls on mostly impervious surfaces, and where the capacity of drains are not sufficient to hold such storm water or the drain water. So thus the term urban floods, it can be simplified as excess runoff in developed urban areas where stormwater does not have anywhere to go due to poor capacity of the drainage system, causing inundations. So, why the need for the study is because once Bangalore was called a garden city, but now it is turned into an urban jungle with massive building structures everywhere because of urbanization. Because of that, the initial core has been expanded significantly, and the developments have been started to sprawl on all the directions significantly. And because of that, it has resulted in very haphazard infrastructure, especially in outer Bangalore, and with irregular roads, plots, and poor stormwater drainage facilities. Hence, during heavy rainfall, the existing infrastructure and the developments around the nalas and lakes have not. It does not have the efficient. It's not efficient enough to cope up with the amount of rain received. Hence, it results in floods. So this was the main reason for taking this topic, and the research questions are like how green buffer areas and green infrastructure, it helps in mitigating urban floods for building resilient cities, and how can we adopt such interventions to manage to manage stormwater. So the aims and objectives that are formulated is: the aim is to reduce surface runoff using green infrastructure to help in mitigation of floods, and the objectives are understanding green buffer zones and green infrastructure, and analyzing the basin, that is the study area, and the potential flood zones and the reason for flooding in the study area, and what are the solutions to reduce the surface runoff, and developing an approach or framework to tackle urban floods through green infrastructure and intervention to reduce the surface runoff. So, how I've gone about the processes: first, analyzing the what is the urban flooding and what are the factors that affect urban flooding in the study area, and understanding what is green buffer and green infrastructure, and collection of data and analysis through various sources, stakeholder consultation, and data classification, sorting out. And using various analysis techniques, and identifying what are the prominent issues for flooding and proposals. So the methodology is what's the introduction, need for the study, and what were the aims and objectives developed, and the analysis is analyzing the flood prone area and what are the reasons for flooding, and coming out with a flood risk map, and for that, interventions and proposals. So I've broadly classified the proposals into two types, that is spatial interventions and policy and green infrastructure interventions to reduce the surface runoff. So these are some of the literatures that I have studied to back up my study. Why green infrastructure? So so first literatures, it talks about analyzing green space as a flood mitigation. So what they have done is they've taken three scenarios. First one is green area scenario, and non-green area scenario, and green area scenario in floodplain. So here what they have come with the outcome is they have done a regression analysis for the same three areas, and they've come up increasing green space inside the flood zone is more effective than existing outside the floodplain area. So if you increase the green space inside the floodplain area, it will decrease the rate of flood more than the other area. So that is one case study. Another one is mitigation of urban flood through green infrastructure. So giving green roof, bioswales, and permeable paving. So they did a comparative analysis of what are the effective techniques, what are the effective green infrastructure techniques which can be implemented in the green area, in the catchments of those water bodies, which can help in to reduce the runoff. And the other interventions were rain gardens and passive irrigation. So these were nature-based solutions for reducing surface runoff. And another one was urban flood risk reduction by increasing green areas for adaptation to climate change. So here also they've taken four baseline scenarios. Uh, Basically on land use and land cover, and a moderate scenario considering the developable area according to urban zoning regulations, and a severe area considering the entire area as built up, and a green scenario which is according to urban zoning regulations, giving like green infrastructure and green buffer zones and areas near floodplains. So the focus was to assess the performance of green infrastructure in the land planning scenario, which will help in reducing the flood risk. So the results were basically the areas which had more greener area near the floodplains. They were more like they were able to cope up with the floods in the future. So that was their this one. Another one is a case study of the Spawn City program in China. So they have used the Spawn City program was the first initiative in China. They came up with the concept of of Spawn cities to reduce urban surface runoff. So they came up with proposals like infiltration detention ponds, storing capacity to clean, utilize, and discharge stormwater runoff using low impact development. So the focus was on limiting the impervious layer in the city and preserving adequate rates of ecological land use and increasing stormwater storage capacity, infiltration, and cleaning. So the next one is how Bangalore has what are the reasons for flooding in Bangalore was like the initial core Bangalore area. It has been increased over the years. So now it is at present 741 square kilometers. And if you see the population rate also, over the years the population has been drastically increased due to urbanization and due to migration of people from other areas towards Bangalore, and that's one of the major causes for urbanization at a very fast rate in Bangalore. And the image it shows, the map shows how Bangalore has lost its green cover or green area over the years. So from the graph, you can infer that the built-up has increased and the green areas have been drastically decreased over the years. And next, this was the main reason for understanding why what are the reasons that has been caused to flooding in Bangalore. So I have taken a study area of one of the basins in Bangalore. So introducing my site. So this is a site that I have taken for as my study area. This is the entire Hebbal basin. Instead of taking the Hebbar Valley, I have considered the entire basin. Why basin was because it has a series of lake which has been connected to the entire basin, and it has and another reason for considering Hebbal is actually in a higher elevation than the other two catchments, that is the KC Valley and the Vrishabhavati Valley. Even if
Sandhya? Internet ಹೋಗಿದೆ.
to conserve and protect the catchments and drainage channels in this area. So I've taken that area. And another factor was the slope and terrain features. So as I told before, this basin, it is actually in a very higher elevation, and it is still prone to flooding because of urbanization. And why we need to study the entire basin, because it will help to give strategies for urban flood management at a basin level. So identifying the various micro watersheds. So if we are able to study the entire catchment area, so we can come up with micro watershed level strategies to mitigate urban floods. So what are the major causes of flooding in the study area were? First one is pluvial floods. So that is the water level increases in lakes and streams, and it overflows into the in the neighborhoods and the adjacent lands. So what are the effect? What are the causing effects? Are it's the duration and intensity of rainfall, volume, volume, soil, water content, and terrain. And what are the human induced factors for this? Is land use change, urbanization, and increasing surface runoff. So the duration of pluvial floods are from few hours to days. And what are the effects is due to flooding is infrastructure and property damage. And what are the areas flood prone is densely populated areas, concretized areas, low lying areas, catchment areas, and what areas near drainage channels. And flash floods occurs, which is seen like most oftenly like during these years in Bangalore is like extreme rainfall events or sudden water released over a short period of time. This and what are the factors, human induced factors affecting this? Lack of maintenance of infrastructure and the drainage channels, siltation and improper solid waste disposal in drainage channels, and lack of permeability due to concretization. And it occurs usually in short period of time, in just for a few hours. And the other one is fluvial floods. It occurs when heavy rainfall creates a flood independent of an overflowing body. So this is because of intense rain saturates an urban drainage system, so the system becomes overwhelmed and the water flows into streets and nearby structures, and the runoff or the flowing water from the rainfall falling on elevated terrain are unable to store the water areas where the natural ground is paved. So, what are the duration of floods? Is from from short duration to heavy rainfall, low intensity rainfall for a very long period. So, these are the major flooding causes because of natural and human induced factors, which is seen in the study area. And the major areas which are prone to flooding is the major areas which are prone to flooding is densely populated areas around the lake and around the natural drainage channels, and high concretized areas because they're fully hello.
Yeah, continue.
Yes, sir. So they're
Rest
fully
all mute.
concretized areas, and another one is they are all very low-lying areas because there are some areas that have been fully encroached by other private developers and private owners in lake beds and catchment areas, which has resulted in floods, and areas near the main drainage channels. So the topography, if you see the elevation profile of the study area, the highest elevation is from 882 above the mean sea level, and the lowest elevation is 769 above the mean sea level. So from the map, you can easily see that uh, from the like in the northern part, from the northern part, it usually drains towards the southern. So the major areas which are prone to flooding are these areas. So these are the major areas which are actually prone more prone to flooding. And what are the soil infiltration capacity in the study area is what type of soil is first it is in the study area is sandy clay soil, and sandy clay and rock outcrops and habitation. So from the study area we can see that major portion of the chunk is it has the prevalent soil type is sandy clay and clay loam soil, which has and after that it has a high concretized surfaces, that is impervious surface on land. And if you see the infiltration capacity, sandy clay loam soil has higher infiltration capacity compared to other soils. So the areas where are the major drain channels are running, so those areas have the soil type of sandy clay loam soil. So if we give some green infrastructure solutions to those areas, then it will help to minimize the urban surface runoff to a greater extent. So this is the hydrological pattern. So stream order 1 and 2 are the primary drain channels. So stream order 3, they are secondary drain channels, and stream order 4 are tertiary drain channels. So this is how the entire hydrological pattern of the drainage basin is. So usually the water drains from stream order 1 and 2 towards stream order 3, and it is collected to the main drain, that is stream order 4. So then the water further collects to Elampalli Shetty Lake, that is the outlet point for the basin. So usually the runoff is higher in uh, stream order 4 and 5, because it is the major drain collecting point from other order streams. So the water flows from stream order 1, 2 and 3, and it drains towards the 4 and 5. So that's why the runoff in those drains are higher compared to the other streams. So if we are able to manage the surface runoff in order 1 and 2 at a micro level, so then we'll be able to reduce the surface runoff to the other streams. That is, if we can like mitigate the runoff in a stream order 1, 2 and 3, so in the major draining points of stream order 1 and 2, that can if we can mitigate, if we can reduce the surface runoff in that level, then when it drains out to the fourth and fifth order, it will reduce the runoff significantly. So hence the areas which comes under major or vulnerable areas for flooding are which is under the order 4 and 5, that is the areas of this, the purple line and the blue line. So they are the major areas of flood prone. So this is delineating the flood prone areas. So the criteria for delineating the flood risk zones were the buffer around a stream order 4 and 5 were taken as the most vulnerable zones, and land around the lake catchment area and the lake buffer of 75 meters as per the National Green Tribunal norms, and the buffer around the major drain outlet points are prone to flooding. So these were the criteria taken for delineating the flood risk zone map, and these are the areas which are seen as a flood zone. So the major areas which are like most vulnerable areas affected are, the major areas is the catchment of Nagavara Lake to Kalkere Lake, that is the entire stretch of Manyata Park, like the entire area around Hebbal. So this area. So this is actually one of the most significant flooding or vulnerable area, because there are around 5 or 6 areas which are vulnerable because of urbanization and encroachment of that entire catchment from Hebbal to Kalkere Lake. That is this is at Hebbal Lake and this is Kalkere. So the entire here. So this is Hebbal Lake, and this is the Kalkere Lake. So the entire catchment around this lake is the most vulnerable area. So which all area fall under that is Manyata Tech Park, Veeranapalya, Vadrapalya, Nanda Gokula layout, and HBR layout. So these are the areas which is prone to flooding, and the other areas around the Yalanka Lake. So that catchment also is being flooded because Kendra Vihar and Kondappa layout. These two layout has been encroached in that land, and the other areas were Puttenahalli Lake catchment and Rachanalli Lake catchment. So these were the areas of flooding. So, what are the major reasons for flooding? Is first one is encroachment. So you can see this is a Hebbal Lake. So the entire catchment over here is being encroached by Manyata Tech Park and Karle Infra, and another problem was they have even diverted the natural drain channel. Because of that, they are facing severe. Waterlogging during heavy rainfalls. So encroachment of the catchment area of the Nagwara Lake is one of the major reasons for flooding in that area. So this was the Google Earth imagery during 2000, how how the water from here it flows to the next drain point. So it was not urbanized like during the 2000s, but because of encroachment of that land, it has been like the most vulnerable reasons for flooding. So encroachment is one of the major reasons for urban flooding. Another one is concretization, the lands were like the green spaces have been like drastically reduced, or there were no any green green areas around the buffer, so that has resulted in floods. So another one is drainage channels have various widths, causing overflooding in areas with less drainage widths. So basically what they've done is, like, the upstream areas have more wider catchments, like a wider drainage channels. And in some areas, because of encroachment, the drainage channels have been like or the stormwater drains have reduced the size of the drains. So wherever the size is reduced, that is resulting in overflow of water and causing floods. That is one. And the lower elevation or encroachment in catchments, and the intersection of drain points, wherever the drain points are intersecting, those areas have been encroached. So they don't have a like a drainage or a capacity to hold that water. So because of that, those are the points where there where areas which are more vulnerable to flooding. And there are no any green buffer zones. Like, if there are no any green strips around the nalas or the lakes, which has caused a significant increase in surface runoff. So these are the some of the pictures of the rainfall affected areas images during the flood. So this is Kendra Vihalaya and at Kogilu Cross, and this is the flood in Manyata Tech Park. So these areas have been flooded during the recent rains last year. So what are the proposal interventions that I've segregated out is, first one is spatial level intervention, policy level, and green infrastructure interventions. So the under spatial level interventions, the first one is enhancing the storage capacity of the existing lakes in the upstream. So if we can increase the storage capacity of the lakes in the upstream, so when it flows to the next drain, it can reduce the surface, like, it can reduce the water coming into the next drain significantly. And micro watershed community practices, and land use control, and flood zoning around green buffer areas around nalas and lakes wherever possible, and restoring the lost lakes which acted as a catchment in the drainage points. And another one, policy level interventions, is green infrastructure incentive program to promote green infrastructure at community and building level, and green protection area policy around lakes and nalas, and green infrastructure solutions at community and building level. So microshed water community practices. So, according to national disaster management guidelines for urban flood management, a key strategy action was watershed to keep watersheds as the basis for urban disaster management actions. So, they have taken watersheds as a key point or a key area where they can reduce, or where they can give urban flooding solutions to such areas. So what I've done is, I have delineated micro watershed map, that is, in the major these are the major drain points from different orders of from different stream orders. So if we can in all the drain points, it actually had it had a lake, which was like, previously there was a lake, but now in certain areas the lakes have been encroached by it has been encroached, or that lake has been converted to a park. That's how I've seen from the observing the site. So if we can identify the micro watersheds from the drain outlet points, and creating a micro watershed community practices for that particular watershed, then we can significantly reduce the surface runoff. So, what were the criteria for delineating the watershed is stream order and the major drainage outlet points, and the flow accumulation and the flow direction. So, the next, like, the proposal under this was first identifying what are the open spaces at major drain points. So, this is one of the area which is at which is in Matikare. So this was one of the flooding areas. So the actually the water, this is stream order 1 and 2. So the water drains out from here. So if we can create a wetland or an artificial point to infiltrate water. So basically, in these kind of drainage points, if we can identify what are the open spaces left, we can use that land for for multi-purpose. So this is one of the land which is a park. So it is JPN park. So it can be used to develop urban wetlands and artificial ponds to reduce the surface runoff when it leaks to the next drain. So if the water, if it can be stored in these areas, so it can reduce the surface runoff, and when it drains to the next drain, it can reduce the water runoff significantly. And the next proposal was giving green buffer areas around nalas and lakes. So around a green buffer of 30-meter around lake, and a buffer of 50 and 30-meter around primary and secondary drains wherever possible. In most of the area, they have been given encroachment, but like in few areas they have been encroached. But if we have to give some strict measures or policy level intervention, where these areas have to be set as a green buffer, and it should be it it should be given as a green designated areas where trees or greens should be planted. And what are the policy level intervention is green infrastructure incentive programs. So if you give development incentives to developers or private owners, decreasing the fees or the zoning, giving them zonal upgrades, that will help them to go beyond single site improvements, and can have large scale impacts. So in all the flood prone areas, if you are giving some green incentive programs to the developers, so that if they incorporate such green infrastructure, giving them some incentives will help actually to minimize flooding in those areas. And grants can be provided to communities or private lands to install green infrastructure. That is one way. And incentives like reimbursement or tax credits to property owners who install green infrastructure in flood prone areas. Another one is a green protection area policy, where the green areas around the nala, the buffer wherever possible, should be considered as protected area. So those areas should be considered the buffer, like this 50 and 30-meter buffer wherever possible, wherever the vacant lands are available, should be considered as green protected areas to stop further encroachment. And green infrastructure level interventions are like giving infiltration basins. So wherever possible, in community level or building level, giving infiltration basins, because it will help to it is designed in such a way to store rainwater beneath a surface that closely mimics its surroundings, like grass or concrete. So the inlet opening on the curb, it faces and collects the storm water, which infiltrates, which fills the chamber or the sump. So once the sump is partially filled, it will be sent to the main drain channel. So this will help in it will help in reducing the surface runoff. Another one is rain gardens wherever possible. So when it rains, the rainwater or the storm water, it flows inside this rain garden, where there's a stream gutter along the curb. So the first the tree which is planted inside the rain garden will intercept the rainwater, and then it will be seeped down to the garden, and from there the excess water will be taken to the stormwater drain. So this is one of the measures. And permeable paving is a range of materials and techniques, such as permeable pavers or porous concrete, which will allow to seep water and paving materials, and will be absorbed into the ground. So permeable paving can be used instead of some traditional impermeable concrete or tar roads. So one of the major reasons for flooding is because of concretizing roads and white toppings. Because of that, it is increasing the impervious layer, and the infiltration of surface runoff is reduced significantly. So if we can give solutions like permeable paving, it will help to infiltrate and absorb the water more in those areas. And contour trenches, so this is one of the other solutions, because Bangalore has a natural drain sloping. So in areas which is along the buffer, or the around the main drainage channel buffer, there can be some trenches which can be dug, and the soil will be removed, which is used to create a berm, or basically a slope around it, basically
We are not able to get anything.
so can you
Voice
finish
is
now?
breaking.
So can you hear now, sir? Hello.
Yeah.
So can you, okay, sir. So
Yeah, go
basically,
ahead.
yes, sir. Okay. Basically, the concept is contour trenches. So because Bangalore has a natural drain sloping, so we can use this solution for minimizing the surface runoff in the around the drainage channels. So basically, what the solution is like having a pit dug, which is around 1.5 meter depth and around 2 feet wide, and around that when the water seeps in like this, it will the water will be stored, which will be stored here, and there'll be a tree planted next to it which will infiltrate the water. So the trees which has more deeply rooted trees it will help to mitigate or to infiltrate more water. It will help to infiltrate more water. So such trenches can be given at regular intervals near drainage channels to reduce the surface runoff. So these are some of the solutions for urban flooding problems, sir. So this is what. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Next,
Sandhya, thank you. You can leave.
Good
Next,
presentation, Sandhya.
uh, next, who is presenting? Harshini?
Sir, let them make it in 10 minutes.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, that's
That's
what
what we are
Talking
telling.
about bonds and all
we,
that.
we, we want to
If
restrict.
we start commenting on that, it will take long time.
Yes,
We're
sir.
not going to hear their entire story of case studies and all.
Hmm.
Let them talk about what is the project
Hmm.
and what is the concept and
Hmm.
what is the proposal crisply.
Okay.
Okay, sir. 10
Yes, sir.
minutes, not even
Yeah.
10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Just ask them to finish it.
Harshini?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we are able to hear. Hope you got clear, right? Principal sir told.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Final solution. What's the topic? And
Okay, sir.
what's your solution? That part you can brief it. Okay?
Okay, sir.
10 minutes.
Maximum
Okay.
is 10 minutes. Within that, you need to go ahead. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Share your screen.
Sir, can you see
Yeah,
my
yeah,
screen,
yeah.
sir?
Yeah.
Good morning, one and all present here. So my topic is regeneration of rural livelihood. So what is rural livelihood? Livelihood comprises the capabilities, assets, and activities required for the means of living. It
Sir,
is.
voice is break. Not able to.
Harshini, your voice is breaking actually.
Hello.
Hello?
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
So it is deemed
Not able to
sustainable
see or
when.
hear your voice.
Hello.
It's actually kirkira anta disturbance. You have some disturbance, Harshini, yours actually.
No, I'm able to hear her, Dhruva.
That some sound is
The
coming out
sound is,
actually.
disturbance is there.
Disturbance is there for us also. Okay, continue, Harshini. We'll see.
So in this sheet, in first slide I have explained about the framework of rural livelihood. Rural household livelihood assets have the five capital, in which having the five capitals, the livelihood strategies is designed. Whether it is the agriculture or livelihood or wages or own business. After deciding the livelihood strategy, the outcome is obtained. So, why rural livelihood is important? About three-fourths of the Indian population live in rural areas. There is a requirement of the improvement of rural areas, like a nation, like India. Like nearly half of the country's economy is derived from the agriculture sector, and the raw material for any agro-based industries is derived from the agriculture sector. So the main component of rural livelihood, it consists of both agriculture activities and non-agriculture activities. Under agriculture activities, raising livestock, fishing, horticulture, and for floriculture, which is now diversified into non-agriculture activities like trading, wage labor, and then it is and it is after educating, skill training, the sustainable livelihood is obtained to better income. So the research methodology, first I have set the aim to standardize the living pattern of the people in the rural areas by improving the rural livelihood. The objectives for that aim is to observe and understand the local economy of the selected area, to identify the potential to improve the rural livelihood, and to identify the challenges faced by the rural household, and to come up with the best rural livelihood activities. And then the few literature studies are taken to understand how it actually works on the field, and the delineation of my study areas is done. And then data is collected based on secondary and primary data. Both the data are analyzed, and the gaps are identified, then the proposals I have given. So these are the few literature studies which I have went through. And the this is the methodology which I have followed for delineating my area. Firstly, I have compared a few rural livelihood schemes. Then, even though the states has the potential to better livelihood, it is still in backward stage. So I have selected the potential states which are backward in the livelihood. So Karnataka, I have selected Karnataka state for my study area, and the district. I have went through the four aspects: agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry, and floriculture. The district which has low sustainable livelihood was compared by its processing opportunity. The highest potential district which had a low sustainable livelihood was selected. Then the selection of taluk. All the taluk in the district was compared on the below given parameters. One is water availability, mixed cropping, and connectivity to the district headwater. So in the Tumkur district, I have compared all the 10 taluks which were there. So Gubi was selected on based on these category. The selecting of the Gram Panchayat. All the Gram Panchayat in the taluk was compared on the parameters like highest rainfall, net cropped area, and cropping intensity, and the accessibility. So Marshatali Gram Panchayat was the selected area. So these are the procedure which I followed for selecting my study area. Then sampling size calculation, stratified sampling, which I chose because livelihood is basically on the gender basis. So I wanted the subpopulation to be male and female. When I calculated for whole Gram Panchayat, I made a 310 sample survey, in which I selected 5 villages, each village 60 samples, 30 were male and 30 were female. Coming to my study area, Marshatali Gram Panchayat in Gubi Taluk is in Tumkur district of Karnataka state. It is located 28 kilometers from the district headquarters and 103 kilometers from the state capital, Bangalore. And the climatic condition, the Gram Panchayat is free from extremes. It has four seasons, like dry season, hot weather, southwest monsoon, and northeast monsoon. So the land utilization of Gram Panchayat, the total cultivatable area is 4,330 hectares, in which the three villages has the highest cultivatable area, which is Marshattalli, Bandihalli, and Kurgdanahalli. And the net sown area is 3,175 hectare, and area irrigated is 2,955 hectare. Unirrigated area is 850 hectare. The total farmers using drip and sprinklers irrigation is 168 hectare. Coming to the demographic details, uh, I have done the total population according to 2011 census is 8,376, in which 42,000 are male and 41,000 are female. The total area of Gram Panchayat is 21 kilometers square kilometer, and the density is 384 people per kilometer.
Harshini,
Yes,
hello,
sir.
Harshini. Why
Yes,
is that
sir.
you are putting all the data for us? See, what is your study? What are the inferences?
Okay,
And what
sir.
is your proposal?
Okay, sir.
One
Okay.
we want to hear. We don't want to hear what is the population and entire the census data. I don't know.
Okay,
You are
sir.
being not guided properly.
Okay, sir.
See, you are given 5 minutes. You
Okay,
should
sir.
concise it in 5 minutes and present it.
Okay,
Why
sir.
are you
Okay.
reading through all the slides?
Okay, sir.
What are the inferences you got from this entire case studies and studies?
Oh, yes, sir.
What is that you have proposed?
Okay, sir. So when
Go to the slide where the inferences are there.
Your inference.
sir, I have given below the chart, sir. So I wanted the migration details. Why people migrate
No,
from
what
this?
is that? Is this the way you present? How can we read? Can we read anything in this? Where to focus? Where to focus and what slides you are? There are no titles, nothing. Okay, it's all looks cluttered. People, jurors will get confused and they will not give you any marks. I'm telling you, if you present like this. Might have got 100 slides and you put everything, like this.
It's just told.
It should be presented in bullets. What is that you have understood? And all these drawings, I don't know, you have done it or it looks like cut and paste. Go ahead and go to the proposals.
Harshini, come to your design proposal.
Yes, sir. This is the proposal which I have given. The majority of the population here, like 60% of the population grow coconut. So for 1 acre land, approximately they will grow 100 to 120 plants, for which for every 45 days, 60 to 80 coconuts are grown. The area irrigated is 2,955 hectares, which is the total area irrigated for coconut is 7,500 acre. So the minimum coconut grown is 2 crore and maximum is 3 crore. Uh, so here unemployment population, 56% of the male are unemployed. In the present scenario, the coconut grown will be lump sumly sold to the nearby APMC, which is in Triptur and Tumkur market. So they are exported to Maharashtra and Mumbai, Pune. They are used as for eating purpose, and for Kerala for extracting the oil. And the coir extracted after drying is sold to the lowest price. Like the market price for 1,000 husk of coconut is 250 to 300 rupees. But we can give a proposal like husk shedding machine, like it costs to 1 to 2 lakh, uh, which we can give from the government. We can give the zero interest loan, which after implementing this machine, after 6 months of implementing the machine, the installment of the amount can be paid. So from the 1 ton of this raw material, 500 and 600 kg cocoa peat, which is 7 rupees per kg, can be sold, and the 3 kg fabric is extracted from 1 ton of raw material, which is almost 3,000 to 4,000 rupees. The minimum coconut is 2 crore, as I said. The raw material required for 1 day from this machine is 2,000 kg. So the raw by for after calculating all this, we can insert 390 this type of machine in this particular gram panchayat. where almost 2,000 people get the employment opportunity. When we see the land requirement from the analysis, even though the people has the land, they won't cultivate for whole the land they own. So the uncultivated land can be used for this activity, and the electricity they have like they have sufficient electricity in this gram panchayat, so they can start they can do these types of activities in this gram panchayat.
Okay. Harshini?
Yes, sir.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Harshini. You can leave.
Okay, sir.
Next, Dhruv. And who is there? Your Rakesh and Dhruv, Nidhishri. Nidhishri?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can share. As explained by previously, it should be very short. Explain about your project and then come to your proposal, inference solution, whatever. Okay? Share the screen.
Yes, sir.
Nidhi?
Yes, sir. One second.
Yeah. Next, Rakesh, be ready. Rakesh?
Okay, sir.
Be
Okay,
ready.
sir.
Sir, is my screen visible?
Yeah, yes, Nidhi.
So my topic is pedestrian and non-motor prioritization in transportation. So this entire presentation is divided into 5 stages. The first stage includes my ideal mode share calculation. What is supposed to be the scenario? Second stage is literature review. Third stage is the review of NMT policies in India. Fourth stage is site selection, justification as to why I chose a particular site or the scale of the site, and analysis. The fifth stage includes proposals. So, to introduce what my thesis is, most in today's world, the planning in transportation has diverted from people to motors, and there's more priority to motors than pedestrians. So, my study is basically focusing on bringing back the priority to pedestrian and non-motorization by decreasing the dependency on private vehicles. And it will also basically what is the problem faced is in today's transportation system, even to get their basic services, they people generally tend to use a motorized mode than a non-motorized mode. So my study deals with how we can shift back to NMT. This is the methodology where first the problem statement, what are the aims and objectives, scope and limitations. Then coming to my first stage, that is idealizing what is the ideal mode share. So we have calculated what is supposed to be an ideal mode share. Next is case studies, then selection of site, how I've collected data, and conclusion and what are the results that I've achieved and what are the proposals. So the problem statement, as previously mentioned, in high share of pedestrian vehicle share in the country, 57% of the population have vehicle ownership, and Bengaluru tops in traffic globally. Of the 10 cities, according to a traffic index, 71% of people in Bengaluru have vehicle ownership, and basically it is the highest traffic congested city. So because of this, it is important for us to basically switch. What is happening now is to deal with a situation. They're only building more roads, but what we can do is we can prioritize on NMT to decongest the city as well as focus on a better sustainable mode of transportation. These are some of my aims and objectives to create a pedestrian and non-motor transportation system for satellite towns whose relevance would exist with surrounding development. The why we have chosen satellite towns will be justified in the further present. We'll understand why we have chosen satellite towns further. Then my objective is to understand the impact of intra-city and surrounding development on transportation in cities, to formulate an ideal situation for transportation composition from households in the city, to understand existing practices of pedestrian and non-motorization with respect to reduction in private vehicle dependency, reduction in dependency on private vehicles, and what is the correlation between whatever ideal situation that I have calculated and what is the real situation, and develop a framework for the site. So first stage is calculation of ideal mode share. So what I've done first is identifying what are the different land uses and what are the different categories or age groups of people attracted to those land use, and assign them what is the ideal mode share that they should use. So for example, taking commercial, if the first most attracted age group is from 30 to 50, the ideal mode that they are supposed to use is walk, cycle or public transport or integration of these. Second age group being 90 to 30, what is the ideal mode for them? So similarly, I've taken four different age groups that will be attracted to a particular land use and assigned a particular mode for them. Apart from this, parallelly, what I've done is we have to also consider exceptions. So I've formulated how we can consider exceptions, and these exceptions are in terms of male and what are the like hindrances for male and female, and how their whether their health allows them to walk or cycle, and of course exception for the disabled. These exceptions will include pregnant women, senior citizens, dependents, that is from the age of 0 to 10, and the disabled. And we've also taken certain assumptions for this particular calculation. One is all activities are happening at the same time. Infrastructure are at 100% benchmark. Modes of transport are available in plenty. It is a homogeneous terrain, and everybody are fit according to the health of their age. This is the final table that we have come up with by whatever user chart that we have created. To that user chart, we have just given what is the composition of population of that particular age group into the user chart, and come up with this particular ideal mode share that is supposed to be the scenario. So without exceptions, walk, cycle, and public transport should come up to 71%, semi-private up to 14%, and private up to 14.21%. With exceptions, that is plus or minus 10%. Plus 10% will come into walk, cycle. Sorry, minus 10% will come into walk, cycle, public transport. So basically, the share will result to 61% walk, cycle, public transport. Semi-private and private being 19%, 19 to 20% each. So this is the ideal scenario that cities or satellite towns are supposed to reach. Now we are getting into stage two, where we have done some literature review to understand what are the best practices, what are the methodology, what methodology can we use in our study, and what are the techniques for like problem identification and solution, and what is the book list. So these are the drawouts. What I've done in this is, again, for each of the literature study, I've compared what is their real scenario and what is the ideal mode share that I have calculated, and what are the gaps in between. So in Pune, as we can see, there is high private transport dependency, and what are the interventions that they have taken to reduce or maybe focus more on NMT and public transport. Similarly, I've done it to all the other four studies and have some particular drawouts from each. Moving on to stage three, review of NMT policy in India. So NMT policy, we have taken I've taken the city of Chennai, because Chennai is the first and only city in India adopting an NMT policy. We are going to study what is the policy goal, what is the progress until date. So these are what they have formulated. But what I'm going to review from this is what is the real situation, and what is the comparison with the goal, and what is the reasons for gaps. So NMT policy review of Chennai, mode share, according to the policy was adopted or formed in 2014, and their goal for 2018 was they have to reach a mode share of pedestrian and NMT to up to 40. So what is the progress that has taken place? Is 100 kilometer of complete streets is taken up out of a total of 400 kilometers. So this basically 25% of the progress. And they had, of course, faced certain challenges while implementing. That is, engineering. City engineers have older methods. That is, they have designs that are less suitable for pedestrians, and they have outdated quality of street designs, and so on. So basically, whatever was implemented was according to the ITDP design guide, complete street guidelines. Chennai Metropolitan Corporation had implemented this project or adopted the policy in collaboration with ITDP. So now here comes what is the current status over there. So comparing what is the goal in 2008 to 2015, we see an increase. But according to their goal, in 2018, it was supposed to be reaching 40%. But what has happened is they have not reached the goal. The total share in 2018 was 28%. That is for pedestrian and non-motor. So in this, what we understand is not only that they have not reached the goal, but we also observe a decline in mode share of pedestrian and non-motor transportation. Now we are going to understand why this decline has happened. One is, according to the senior program manager of ITDP, she says that 25% has already been 25% has already been covered. There's still 300 more kilometers to be covered. So there needs to be more progress to at least start realizing the goals. So what we observe from this is, on a city level, people generally tend to use a sustainable mode depending on the connectivity of the network. But what we see in this map is, the yeah. So the connection or the pedestrianization in the complete streets design has taken place in fragmented stretches of the city. We still have to see more connectivity in the network to start realizing the objectives. So what we're trying to tell here is, the project was not a failure, but what I'm trying to justify here is, NMT plan for a city as a whole is a time-taking process, and it requires at least close to 100% progress to begin realizing the objectives. So this may be due to few reasons like high population, high vehicle and traffic congestion, and city core is a major destination. So whichever part of the city people are living in, people would want, would have some other reason to travel to the core of the city. That is why the most feasible option. Yeah. So the most feasible option is the application of NMT in satellite towns. Stage 4 is justification as to why I chose satellite towns, site selection and analysis. So why satellite towns? Again, so basically satellite town is created to share the burden of the city and to decongest the city. What we can do is, to decongest, the first step to at least begin to implement NMT is to decongest the city and push the
I'm in a
population to
meeting. I'm
satellite
calling
towns.
you.
We already have certain satellite towns
10 minutes.
within major cities. But once this is done, now that the congestion factor has been removed, we can decrease the burden on the city and achieve a balance and shift. Once the NMT or pedestrianized policy or framework has been applied in the satellite town, we can then shift back our focus to the city. One second. Now coming to site selection, now we have justified why we can choose satellite towns for LMT implementation. So these are the different cities in India that have satellite towns, and for my study we have selected Bangalore as a city with Yelahanka as a satellite town. Justification for the same has been given. Bangalore, out of all the cities, the top three ranked world urbanization prospect, according to World Urbanization Prospect, top three cities are Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore, out of which the net migration or total in-migration has happened only in Bangalore. So 100% of the in-migration, which means that there is higher burden on the city of Bangalore with 100% in-migration. So this is why I chose the city of Bangalore with a satellite town of Yelahanka, as it was a planned satellite town by the Karnataka Housing Board. So this is the map that shows how much is the in-migration or population.
Hello.
And this is the study area.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ
Yeah.
ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೋದ
So this is the study area, that is Yelahanka satellite town. It is located in the north of Bangalore, towards the airport road. Yeah, so
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಫ್
basically I've
ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ಸ್
done certain analysis on this, and the one thing that I want to bring everybody's focus to is comparison of my ideal mode to what is the modal split that I have drawn out from the analysis in Yelahanka. So we see that walk, cycle, and public transport is coming up to 35% in Yelahanka, while the ideal mode share is supposed to be 61%. And we also observe that there is high private vehicle dependency in the satellite town. That is 48.46% use private vehicles, while it is supposed to be only 19%.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ
So what are the inferences that we draw out from these studies is, walk, cycle, and public transport is have 35% and 48% dependency on private vehicles, and except for vacation, all the trip purpose have a high maximum private vehicle mode share. So considering within the limits of the satellite town, the trip purpose is mostly to commercial, education, and recreational purposes. Daily trips include work and education, and then next frequent trip is commercial purposes. So it is impressive to note that even for commercial or recreation purposes, the most people's choice is a private vehicle, which is not supposed to be the situation within a satellite town. And now considering what is the willingness of they have it, the Yelahanka satellite town has an average of 85,000 income, but what they want to, like, or what they can afford to spend on transportation comes up to an average of 5,600, and what they're willing to spend is only 3,000. So, considering the high vehicle or vehicle dependency, this scenario is quite contrasting. So that is why it is important for us to bring measures of NMT and pedestrianization. Coming to walking and cycling influences, with an average cycle ownership of 0.5 cycles per household, that is 50% of the household's own cycle, the cycling percentage is only 32% in the entire satellite.
Nidhi,
People,
time,
Nidhi,
time.
time.
okay, so basically, what I tried to tell here is the opinion of people on safety, comfort, speed, and experience is ranging more towards moderate and not towards good or very good, and some towards even bad. What are the proposals? So again, proposals have been given in 4 dimensions: safety, comfort, travel time, and experience. Uh, so for safety, I would want to suggest a mixed use development. For comfort, pedestrianizing commercial zones, because that is the second most frequent trip in the satellite town. Next is travel time, that is giving shortcuts for NMT. Next is experience, that is mentality mapping. So what safety again, for safety, there were 7 different zones that were identified, which was considered highly unsafe by the people because of certain events that have happened in these areas. And bringing your focus to the stretch number 7, that we can see from the map. Uh, so previously, this area was considered very unsafe to walk because it has a single type of land use, and after a certain time, because of the vacant plots and one particular type of land use, the functionality shuts down after a particular time. Maybe up to 4 o'clock, the space is working, and after 4 o'clock, the stores or the area is shut down, which makes it very alienated for people to walk. So now, in the past 6 months, what we've observed is there are a lot of street vendors, which is a natural occurrence. A lot of street vendors have encroached or maybe started vending in those areas, and now we see that up to 10 p.m., based on interviews on frequent travelers on this stretch, they find it very safe. So, what are the different reasons as to why they find it safe? From this case, streets are brighter because of street vendor shops, and there's more watch on the road. That is why it is more safer. But what are the negative drawbacks from this is encroached existing infrastructure, heterogeneous traffic, which means that people have to share the carriageway. Not they don't have a separate lane, and one is forced parking or no parking areas. So what we can do is we know that there are two positives that increase the safety. So that is why we can develop a mixed use where there is some or the other person even at off time to keep a watch on the street. So this is one of my proposals for safety. Experience includes mentality mapping. So this is one element where we miss out generally in planning. We don't understand what are the psychological factors that are affecting people to choose their choice. So depending on the theory of planned behavior, we can link the travel behavior, socio-economic profile, as well as psychological factors that will influence the travel. So again, based on this, we can provide some particular elements in the commercialized stretches to help people feel or psychologically feel that they should use a sustainable mode for transportation. Next is travel time. So basically, people tend to prefer something that reduces the time. So if you give NMT certain advantages over privatized mode, they'll definitely use it. So again, some constraint is water or nala or river within the site. So generally, these areas are left as it is just by providing a buffer. So what we can do is we can initiate nala cleaning and develop infrastructure only for NMT and walking. No private vehicles. So, since the water flows in the shortest route, it is definitely an advantage over the routes of motor vehicles. So, NMT gets a shortest route, people would want to choose that particular route. Next is pedestrianizing commercial. So, within the satellite town, since commercial trips are high, it is best to pedestrianize a commercial zone within the satellite town. That's it.
Okay. Okay, Nidhi.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Rakesh,
Yes, sir.
yeah, share, and you should be very short. You have to brief and come to your design solution. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Nidhi, you can lead. Thank you. Rakesh,
Yeah.
Rakesh.
Rakesh,
Sir.
be brief and you have to complete in 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And slightly give a little brief introduction
Short
and
introduction.
short introduction and straight away go to your analysis and
Analysis.
proposal.
Proposal.
Okay, sir.
Open. Share the screen.
Sir,
Dhruv. Dhruv. Dhruva. Dhruva. Dhruv, be ready. Next.
sir, can you see
Yeah,
my
yeah, we
slide,
can
sir?
see, we can see.
Yeah. My topic is towards harvesting of flood water in irrigation and as an alternative source of domestic purpose.
We had asked you to redesign the title, no? It
Yes,
is
sir.
too long. We had told you to.
Yes, sir.
Okay, continue.
Sir, sir, I chose this topic because flood and drought are the two major natural disaster that create significant impact on people's lives and their well-being. Flood occurs mostly frequently with a large number of people affected, while drought was less witnessed. However, they caused distracting impact on human lives. Both are expecting to happen more frequently with higher degree of severity due to the influence of climate change. Both events can arise in the same river basin at different periods, as found in Krishna River Basin, which is selected as my site area. Approximately 50% of peoples are dependent on agriculture and then is rainified, and it is
Rakesh, don't read the slide. Can you move fast?
We have told very time.
Rakesh, don't
sir.
read full. You have to tell short brief about your project proposal.
Okay, sir.
Ah,
Sir, my aim and objective is harvesting floodwater of rainy season through harvesting structure during post-flood periods. Like I have to store the flooded water in the higher elevation and then send it to the agriculture areas. For that, objectives are spatio-temporal study of the case area and channelizing runoff water to the drought-prone areas and increase agriculture production by using flood water and creating employment opportunities for local community. And these are my methodologies. First, selection of case areas like flood and drought risk management, then aims and objectives, and selection of study area, Athani Taluk, and data collection, data analysis, and intervention. And this is macro level analysis. Why I choose Karnataka in all over India, because Karnataka is place in second place in both flood and drought according to the from 1996 to 2016. And in Karnataka, Belgaum ranks 5th in drought and 4th in floods. Since Belgaum is vulnerable of flood and drought and it is more sustainable for flood and drought management, the recent 10 years of period Belgaum's district is affected with heavy rains and floods. The district has witnessed flood 5 times during last 7 years in the different parts of the districts. And then why I choose Athani Taluks, because it has received less rainfall in compared to other taluks in Belgaum districts, and it's most affected taluks when it's drought. And Athani has highest geographical area in Belgaum district compared to the other taluks, uh, and the Athani taluks in critical regions. So we have to prepare plan for that. And these are the introduction of Athani taluk, and and this is the demography of Athani taluk and the climate condition of Athani taluks. And when you see the first graph, that's represent the rainfall data in Athani over the years. When it receives less rainfall, it leads to drought, and when it receives average rainfall and more than average, it leads to flood. And the more precipitation changes in from June to August. So in and precipitation amount is more than 50 to 100 millimeter in a month. And the occurrence of disaster in the past, then floods occurs in the year 2007, 8, 9, and 12, 13, and 16 and 17 occurs both drought and flood. Drought occurs in these floods, and drought occurs in the month of March, April, May, and October, November, and December. Flood occurs only in June, and July. And these are the cultivation data about in Athani. 0% of the land use of in Athani Taluk, major portion of land is covered with net zone area and followed by the fallow land. Less than 0% of land is forest area, and other uncultivated land is 3%. 5% land is not available for cultivation. And the source of water for irrigation is almost 6 lakhs people in Athani depend on groundwater for all their needs. for drinking to farming, but groundwater has been depleted from the extent that borewells, of which every field has one rain dry to. There are a few open wells about 120 feet depth, but to strike water, the well must be to 700 to 800 feet deeper, for which permission has been taken from the panchayat. And in drought in Athani in 2018, some of the major reasons for water scarcity in the taluks are lack of water storage, lack of maintaining the water bodies, insufficient of water users, and water requirement for villages in the drought conditions are water demand of for 2018 during drought was 7,40,860 liters per day in rural area and 16,20,840 liters per day in the urban area for domestic purpose. And these are the flooded map in Athani. Out of 108 villages, 34 villages are affected by flood, in which 27 are fully affected and 7 are partially affected. Flood happens when water level rises above the 3 meter from mean sea level. And these are the
Rakesh?
above the mean sea level, and lowest point is 530 mean sea level. Contour intervals is 25 meters, and it is undulating surface. And these are the soil map of Athani Taluk. The sand loam soil type is along the streams of the steady area, which has good amount of water holding capacity. The clay soil has high water holding capacity and dry capacity in moist and dry high infiltration capacity, which is a strategy to give a small reservoir to store water during flood season and helps in managing drought during off seasons. And these are the NDWI maps. NDWI, the normalized difference water index, is used to highlight open water feature in the satellite image, allowing a water body to stand out against the soil and vegetation. NDWI values will always range between 1 to -1. If the values are near to the 1, it means there is a water availability. And if values are near -1, there is a less or no availability of water. In this map, it shows in the north part of Athani, we can see there is less availability of water. And this is the stream flow. There are 3 catchment regions in the Athani region, and it connects the end of the catchment regions. It's connect to the Krishna River. And land use and land cover map. Vacant land, barren land, uncultivated land. Vegetation include agriculture land and forest land. And the proposals, there are 2 types: structural measures and non-structural measures. Small reservoirs, water pumping stations, check dams in natural channels and reservoirs. And non-structural measures are adaptation of flood and drought warning systems. And these are the proposals like check dams, pumping stations, reservoir, and pipeline. We are pumping water from low-lying area to the high-lying area and make reservoir in the higher elevation, and then providing water for the agriculture's use in the dry seasons, and making check dams to store the water and increase the groundwater level.
Okay, Rakesh? Done? Yeah.
That's it, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rakesh. You can leave. Rakesh, you can leave. Thank you. Dhruv?
ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ಲಾ ನಾನು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ.
Dhruv? Rakesh, you can leave. Dhruv Timaya?
Yes, sir.
Start sharing the screen. Dhruv?
Yes, sir. I'm present.
Okay. Ankura?
Yes, sir.
Be ready. After Dhruv, you're next.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This must be visible, sir.
It's now loading. Okay. Dhruv, you know main concept. You should tell your project brief, project introduction, and solution. Fine. Okay. It should be very short.
Yes, sir.
You can start.
The topic that I chose was tourism development in hilly areas, and the place that I chose was Kodagu. abstract. Why I chose Kodagu was because it belongs. It's a part of Western Ghats. It is rich in biological diversity and also known as micro hotspot. Also, the unique cultural heritage of the Kodagu makes it suitable for tourism. The present study deals with the lack of local community involvement in tourism sector and impact of extreme tourism on the environmental and socio-economic conditions of the district. Tourism industry is capable of changing the social, cultural, economic, and environmental future of the world. It is also one of the largest and fastest growing industries in the world. Tourism has a potential to influence the living pattern of communities. Also, it is one of the most important channels of exchanging culture. It also involves a collection of activities, services, and industries and deliver a travel experience including transportation, accommodation, eat, drink, establishment of retail shops, entertainment, business, and other hospitality services provided for individuals or groups of traveling away from home. In developing countries like India, tourism has become one of the major sectors of economy. That is, tourism contributes 17% of the total income. And a research framework. As per 2019 Indian tourism statistics, number of tourist arrival in India were 2.3 billion. There is a constant increase in the number of domestic as well as uh, foreign tourists also. That is to not 8.4 million increase in the past 5 years. Tourism sectors contributes 9.2% of India's total GDP. This is as per 2019. Karnataka state stands third place out of all the Indian states. Karnataka also has seen an immense growth in domestic tourist visits. That is growth from 36.7 million in 2006 to 215.3 million in 2018. The state attracts nearly 12% of all overall domestic tourist visits in India. Karnataka's tourism sector contributed 14.8% of the state's GDP and provides over 30 lakh job occupation. Need for study. Tourism involves integrated resource utilization. It stimulates local employment and investment. It involves governance, multi-actor participation, and cooperation. In my study area, it is tourism is mainly ecotourism, nature-based tourism, agriculture tourism, and cultural tourism. And nature tourism contributes 11% of tourist travel in India. Aim is to enhance the destination image of Kodagu and build relationship with the local community with the tourists. Research objectives are to profile and understand characteristics of tourists in Kodagu, to analyze the performance of the existing tourism scenario and assess the gaps, to assess the role of local community of Kodagu with suitable indicators and tools, and to identify spatial planning issues and alternatives with respect to tourism models that can collectively boost the economy of Kodagu. Methodology aim based on aim I formed four objectives, and then data collection, there is primary data, secondary data, and the literature study, and based on that I've come up with analysis and proposals. I've chosen the theoretical framework for Sikkim because again this is also based on nature tourism. uh, on how the main inference from this is I learned was how policy changes can due to policy changes an year-long tourism which would add up to constant economy of the state. And then I've added community capacity building. This was not used in tourism before. There are some parts in Kerala which is used, but I've introduced this in my topic also. Uh, that is according to CCB here. Stakeholders or representatives are identified, and then a wide range of development and also assist communities to enhance tourism knowledge and awareness. Uh, Based on that, tourism is considered in broader development context and make informed choices about development. From that, we can infer if they would actually choose tourism or if they're not. And if they choose tourism, then we can work more on building the community to participate in tourism planning, taking up tourism business and other opportunities, and manage tourism impacts, and conduct strategic tourism planning as per traditional planning models, and then implementation of the plans. So for CCB model, two main things involved is characteristics of the local community and CCB indicators. Characteristics of the local community include like income, activities that are involving tourism, number of persons that are engaged in tourist activities, the literacy level of the local community, and the type of residences. And indicators are participation level, community leadership, community structure, sense of community, resource mobilization, and external support. The strategies oriented towards community capacity building are tourist perception, local community perception, other stakeholders perception, and current CBT activities. There are pull and push motivation factors which would create the image of the destination. The key takeaways from the CCP analysis of my study area was that uh, uh, there are like four broad types of investment. That is like in-skill training of local staff needed, and in-skill training for local entrepreneurs in tourism business, support for local school and education, and awareness raising among the local community for share planned in consultation. That is, investing in local education training and capacity building can be effective, and there is a visibility. There is a high valued way for tourism operation to contribute to local development. Uh, the second topic that I chose for case study was London.
Dhruv, be brief on your case study. Come to the proposal. Your analysis, appraisal, and your proposals.
Come to your proposals.
Sir, I ended up losing the data of my proposals, sir, and due to like exam constraints, I couldn't work on the proposals. Well, like, I had the data and I lost it, so.
Okay. Continue. Be brief.
Be very short.
Very short.
Okay, sir. From London, what I learned is the statistical method that they used, that is pre-visit promotion, that is to attract more of the first-time visitors. And second one is visitor experience and information, that is encourage and enable visitors to see more of London, improve the visitor food experience, and connect Londoners and visitors. Third one is infrastructure and amenities, that is invest in the cultural infrastructure, improving the quality. City does not meet the demand project. Of out of 830 resorts, around like 230 are illegally constructed in the entire district, and aviation capacity is not enough to meet the requirement of the tourists. My research questions are: what is the relationship between the destination's creation and identity with its destination imageability? What is the perception of local community on tourism, and to what extent is the existing engagement in tourism activities? Which indicators and parameters are strong in Kodagu with respect to CCB to improve and develop strategies to enhance its CCB potential? What are the natural, social, cultural, economic effects of tourism on the district? Talking about the site, uh, it is a rural district, a popular tourist destination of India, known for its hospitality of the people and beautiful scenery. Has three districts, namely Madikeri, Virashpet, and Somarpet. Characteristics of the district: it is a smaller district in the state of Karnataka. Hilly district located in the Western Ghats, which is rich in biodiversity. It is blessed with beautiful natural landscapes. It is well suited for cultivation of high valued crops like coffee, black pepper, and cardamom. The district is known as Coffee Cup of India and produces one third of India's coffee. Uh, the district is driven by a thriving rural agriculture based economy, which is supplemented by incomes from tourism. Kodagu is also one of the richest districts in the state and is majorly driven by its agriculture economy. The picturesque coffee plantations of Kodagu are the most noticeable hallmark of the district, uh, together with the Kodagu Koda farms that attract the tourists. It has three taluks, that is Madikeri, Virashpet, and Somarpet. Madikeri is the headquarters. It has an elevation of 1,150 meters. Total area is 4,102 kilometers square. Population is 5,54,000 as per 2019. Population density is 1.5 per kilometer square.
Dhruv, can you stop reading the slide, please?
Please. avoid all this information. I think go further.
Further, go.
Yes, land cover not to go.
Wait, wait.
Uh, 33% is forests and 41% is agricultural land. This is the one that I observed the highest over here. So more potential for nature tourism and agriculture tourism. Uh,
Next.
Tourism downfall data, domestic tourists also. 2013 to 15, there was landslide, so there is uh, a decrease in the number of tourists. And again, from 2017, because of COVID, there is decrease, except there is a constant increase. Employment opportunities here are like restaurant, homestays, lodges, transportation guides, shopkeepers, bars and pubs, resorts, homestays, sports activities, and food habits. Challenges are pollution. That is due to growth of tourist pollution is there is a problem of pollution in the district, and density of population and vehicle. That is there is an increase in density of population in vehicles, which has disturbed the calmness of the people. Deforestation due to growth of tourism. The construction of homestays at a higher rate, and hence there is deforestation, and green land is slowly being converted into dry land. The shortage of rented houses. Due to development of homestays, the rents have also reached this peak value, and the middleman is struggling to survive, unable to pay the rent, and lopsided development. That is only in places where there are like popular tourist sites or the towns, there is higher development, whereas the rest part of Cook, there is no development at all. An increase in crime rate. With the growth of tourism, it is obvious that there is increase in crime rate. A loss of valuable culture. That is, tourism leads to demonstration effect. That is, as a result of youths are completely westernizing themselves, adapting to Western culture from the tourists that are coming from outside, and lack of interest in agriculture sector. As tourism growth is providing job and opportunities even to the untrained, agriculture is completely neglected, and agricultural lands are converted into homestays, resorts, commercial sites, etc. And one more effect of tourism is landslides. Kodagu lies in the western parts of Karnataka state, which forms a part of Western Ghats, with its distinctive geological, hydrological, and meteorological characteristics. It has now long been known for landslide events in selected areas during certain months of the year, especially during monsoons. The topography of the region is sensitive, and any changes in the land use, land cover pattern causes landslides or slope failure, affecting the population and infrastructure. 105 confirmed landslides have been identified from August to September 2018. uh, Causes natural causes are rainfall modification of natural slopes for the building of resorts over there, and blockage of natural drain. The same thing, illegal resorts constructed, uh, there is blockage of natural drain, and hence water seeps into the soil, uh, making the soil loose, and hence there is landslides happening. And then water tanks or ponds in coffee estates, which again collects water, makes the soil porous. In flash flood due to temporary formation of nala. There are a few geological parameters in this study area that played a key role for the triggering of landslides. That is the geological elements of structure, lithology, earthquakes, and landslides. I've taken a case study of a place called Bagamandla, which is a popular tourist spot for the Talakaveri temple. Here, the landslide occurred on 6 August 2020. This falls in the northeast quadrant of topo sheet. The basement rock of the area is Peninsula Genesis 1 of Saranic group of Archean age. Granite genesis occurs at a large linear bands tending approximately east-west in the area. Uh, in the first image, it's seen that there is an old landslide that occurred on 30th June 2007 and observed along the road in the 2013. That is first slip surface developed. And in the second one adjacent to the old one, there was another landslide that was initiated, and the second slip surface occurred. And then adding to it, both of them added together, and then there was the whole parcel of land just moved down. The main reason is like right 200 meters above the first spot, there was a resort which is being planned, and due to it, the natural path of Nala was disturbed, and hence it ended up in like making the soil loose, and there was landslide that occurred. Uh, Moving my way forward, perception analysis of local and tourists. SWOT analysis, identification and mapping of tourism circuit based on secondary and primary study, proposals for infrastructure development for identified tourism circuits. That's it, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Dhruv. You can. Okay, thank you, Dhruv. We can leave. Ankura?
Yes, sir. I'm
You can
presenting the
share.
screen.
So now it's architecture. This over. Planning whether it's 5. Ankura and 4 other 3. Ankura?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Next,
can you,
Yashaswini,
is my
be ready.
screen visible?
Okay.
Yeah, Ankura,
Yashaswini.
please be very brief. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And set the timer.
Just the problem and then what solution you have given.
What is your
That's
proposal?
all.
That's it. In
Nothing
brief.
else.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yashaswini,
Yes.
be
All in
ready.
points. Don't read out from the slides. All in points.
Yes,
Just give us the key points. We would like to
okay,
understand.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So basically, my topic in architecture is oceanarium. We all know that ocean is like a really large space, and it is very essential as an architect to understand in depth, to know about the ocean, as we will be designing space for ocean animals in particular. So basically, there's a quote which says, "To know the ocean in depth, you have to know have sea foam in its veins." So basically, you have to know the depth and bad part of the ocean, like sea foam, which comes from decayed algae and all the harmful substances, to know the ocean in depth. So basically, in today's my topic, oceanarium, there be a oceanarium is basically a marine mammal park which will be housing mostly ocean animals like dolphins, sea lions, and etc. It is very, and with that, it is very important to know that in addition to housing all these animals, we will be taking main care about the conservation of these animals by involving research and government aspects also together. Research in the sense, since as an architect will be providing a really comfortable environment for these ocean animals, with keeping them under constant observation and stuff, and getting to know what exactly is hindering them, and then uh, with the various methods of conservation, we can actually conserve these animals. And next, coming to the project proposal, we know this project proposal was done by Ministry of Earth Sciences by the government. It was already a proposed project in Goa in 1998 by the Ministry of Earth Sciences, and it was a 350 crores project which was already proposed, and due to various reasons it couldn't be implemented, and the site proposal that they had only proposed was in Panaji, Goa, that is in Miran, along the coast side of the Myanmar beach. And the reason why I have chosen is this site is because it is like very near to the to the ocean, and availability of seawater is very convenient in this. So this is the reason I have chosen this thing. And next, coming to the objective, there are totally of 4 objectives of this project. That is, the first one is to create
Ankura?
Ankura.
Go to your proposal directly.
There you can briefly tell us about your objective. Just tell us the proposal.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so these are the various case studies that I've done. As an inference, I've calculated all the amount of sources of water and the pipes they have used, and the various details, and the pumping systems, and etc. So basically, this is the site analysis which says the setbacks and stuff about the topography. Coming to the SWOT analysis of the thing, we get the strengths are that we get perfect view of Myanmar beach from the site, and the materials like laterite stones are like very readily available in the site. So this is a plus point, and also abundance of water supply from the ocean is available. There is also there is also freshwater availability in the nearby lakes available, that is Casalogna Lake and Mala Lake, that which are like 2 meters kilometers away. So this is where we'll be getting freshwater availability, and seawater is not at all a problem. And water sewage and drainage problems can be there are two sewage treatment plants in the vicinity, that is 200 meters, and there's the dumping Dona Paula dumping station, which is like 2 kilometers away from the thing. And coming to the opportunity, the potential site comes in a very famous tourist center that is in Dona Paula, near Dona Paula Beach. So it's a very large tourist center, and parking is not at all a problem, because there's an adjacent Dona Paula Beach parking that which is there, and the National Institute of Oceanography is nearby. So we can also hand in hand bring hand in hand the National Institute and the Oceanarium together, as researchers can come into my site and then work together in hand in hand. And the threats that include is high natural disaster, that is natural disaster which is less likely to occur in like Goa, that has happened. And the rate of tourism in Goa is increasing like day by day, like year by year, in a very very drastic rate. This is also could be one of the threat. And next, coming to the site analysis, a design area statement that I have considered. The area statement, my whole site is however the zoning is done is basically divided into uh, like three part. One is the main entertainment area, and the other one is the research part, that is for the research aspects and also health and care of the animals. And the other one is maintenance. Maintenance mostly includes things like food and life saving system, which is very very important, like filtration of water, which is actually present in the ground floor. Like all this maintenance, as we can see here, maintenance in the basement level, there is maintenance level. These two are the dolphinarium pool and the sea lion pools. In the between there are holding tanks for these two. As we know that for animals it is very necessary for holding tanks and medical tanks to be necessary. And so this is in the center, and life saving system with proteins, skewers and stuff for filtration of everything. And in the sides there is like water treatment thing. And apart in the site, this, so coming to the this is a part of a site where with the first floor part of a site, here is where reservoirs are situated, like away from the site. This is a 1 million gallon reservoir with two freshwater reservoirs with a sewage treatment reservoir. So these part is like really very necessary for the thing. And like as we see in the basement plan over here, there are holding tanks and stuff. And these part are the maintenance area, like tank lab, medical, food and preparation and stuff. And this part is like for life saving system with the protein skewers, a large amount where the filtration takes place and then the water supply is given. Each and every protein skewer has a capacity of filtering 2000 liters per hour. So this is very important. So and water won't be a problem. Next, coming to the since the maintenance part is done, next coming to the entertainment aspect, that is marine mammal park. Is the marine mammal park, there'll be an entertainment aspect. In the marine mammal park, there's a dolphinarium over here, and this is the entrance mainly. This is like a seating area. This is front of house where there'll be ticket collection and stuff, and people would go through here. And here there's a underwater tunnel, acrylic tunnel, which is there. And over here there's a dolphinarium which houses the capacity of 1500 people. And it is very necessary to know that these entertainment shows won't be happening every day or something like that. It will be having once in a month or something, on the sole purpose of entertainment, revenue generation. This is the sole purpose of this. And this is the acrylic tunnel, and I believe all these things gives an insight, like a window for us humans to look into the vast ocean part, which is we have no clue about, since we are more of land animals. Three-fourth part of the earth is ocean, and we don't have any clue, and this gives us a small window to look upon inside the ocean, and this is the aim. And the holding tanks, this is a passage, and for all those people who want to have a hands-on experience, they go all the way to the back of stage, they prepare them, they train them, and then they can have a hands-on experience with the sea lion and the dolphin. So this part is a thing. Apart from the revenue generation from these parts, there's also a musical fountain over here, and the pavilion. This is a dome theater and also a lake view things. All these four caters to revenue generation of this oceanarium. So this part is like the entertainment aspect, and these are like show and also for the animals to house in. And next coming to the first floor of the thing. First floor contains research aspect. Mainly, this is where we come across the research aspect. Like in the first floor, there's a top part of the acrylic tunnel area where, with a holding tank on top, where any animals in the shark tank can be upheld, and they can examine them and every now and then and stuff. And in the center over here, there is a entertainment area where there's a ramp going on all along the thing, where they'll reach the second floor. And along the sides, there are like freshwater exhibits on both the sides, small tanks with 1,000-gallon tanks and 100-gallon tanks, etc. for the animal. And in the center, there are estuaries like jellyfish, starfish, octopus, and stuff like reefs. These are basically reefs which requires maintenance of habitat is a main challenge in this, and this is where in this place habitat is mainly maintained. And all this side, like as we go through the ramp, we can actually access animals in this. Here there's a stingray touch, turtle pool, starfish touch, and these two are biological habitats and with things. So as we go on, we can have a hands-on experience. So this is also entertainment and like a thrilling experience for the people. And the surrounding areas is totally filled with labs, and these three are quarantine labs over here. As for an animal, it is necessary for each and every animal that we are getting from outside to be quarantined for at least 2 to 3 months for them to actually adjust to the habitat, and this is done in the quarantine center over here. So these three are the quarantine center. One is for hot temperature, cold temperature, and like moderate temperature. All of them like all necessities for these animals. And there are totally like 5 research labs that are totally present with all the admin office and stuff. And these two are the generator rooms, and these are the accommodation part for the staff. And and one more thing which I forgot to mention is this is a semi-public area where people like these are for students, where exhibition and learning seminar halls are held, where there'll be separate access from the site, where children can actually access into this learning areas. So this is one of the semi-public areas that like as we can see, this is like the in the basement, life-saving system, maintenance area, learning and explore area for children. And in the first floor, there's back of house, dolphinarium, shark tank, sea lion show, front of house, and this is the entrance lobby. And
Okay.
these are the segment
Ankura,
places.
just browse through the sections, elevations, and then you can finish.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, so basically, this is a section where the basement, in the basement, the life-saving system is -3 level, and this is -1 level, which is this part is 2 meters below the thing, because since the protein skewers and all this other equipments require a higher height, so from ground level will be going -3 level plus 2 levels above. So the life-saving part is 5 meter. In height. So this part is the life-saving system, and over here, this is a tank. which is with shear wall, which is done with shear walls, and also acrylic glass of 0.7 meters, which is there, which is and over here in the basement, which is there, we can easily, these are observation areas where we can have a underground visuals of these animals and stuff. And next, coming to the, this part is for the like amphitheater for the shows. And over here in the first floor there's a ramp that is going on. Like, this is how the animals, like as we go through it, we can have a hands-on experience with the animals present in each and every pools. And on the sides there are like things.
Okay.
So
Just show the elevations and then you can finish.
ma'am, elevations are like not much.
Okay.
This is a dome theater, uh, uh, and over here there are a few views, like how the ramp is going on, and the estuary is in the middle. And this is a dome theater with a musical over here.
Okay, Ankura.
And
That is
yeah.
Okay,
this is
Ankura.
the picture. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yashaswini? Yashaswini?
Yes, sir. Can you
Join, share the screen.
Hello?
Yeah. Your voice is breaking, Yashaswini.
Hello?
Yeah, yeah. Continue.
Yes, sir. Is my screen visible? Hello?
Yeah, continue, Yashaswini. We are able to see.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so my thesis topic is horse turf, Bangalore Turf Club and Race Course. And basically, a turf club is a club involving horse racing, and it's also a medium for legal gambling. And there's a lot of opportunities here to have revenue throughout the year, which is something the current Bangalore Turf Club was not doing. And my aim is to propose the new Bangalore Turf Club on the outskirts of the city with multifunctional grandstands according to international standards. And that can also versatility to be marketed as an entertainment center and provide opportunity for all business functions. So this way the club can function and generate revenue all year round, unlike the current scenario where the turf club does not function. It functions like once or twice a year. And the need for this topic is that the government is planning to shift the turf club to the outskirts because it's pulling in a lot of traffic because it's in the central business district, and it's a live project, and the proposed site not Chichala. And yeah, the scope is to hello, yeah, the so my case studies are Bangalore Turf Club and Mysore. So Bangalore Turf Club I took to study the current scenario and and can be done to make it better. And Mysore Race Club is it's a very old turf club, and it has the best stables in the entire India. So I took this to study the features because Bangalore Turf Club had very bad stables, and it needed and the facilities were very outdated, and there was a strong need for other setups that can generate revenue for them. And my site is located in Chichala, and it falls under Bayappa, and it's very close to the airport and also to the city, and it pulls traffic away from the city. And there's also the Nama Metro that is running parallel, like the proposed project that runs parallel to the site. So connectivity, there's a lot of connectivity to the site, and there's also the Hebal Yelanga Expressway and my Bangalore-Mysore infrastructure corridor up. And yeah, so this is an ideal site which the government also has proposed. Yeah, my zone, this is how I zone my, so it's a 230-acre site. And yeah, so there's a lake bed. This site consists of a lake bed, and but it's dried up. It's been dried up since more than 20 years. So rejuvenating this lake bed would bring down the temperature of the entire site, and also retaining the existing water body structures to because we need facilities like eco and pool. So I'll be using those and using those only to make the pool. And the stables are placed inside the site to escape the traffic noise from the highway, and also The site is in east-west orientation, which is a weakness because harsh sun rays will be hitting the site from south, especially during summer. So as a solution to this, all the buildings have been oriented towards the north, and buffer space will be provided in the south to protect the stables against the harsh sun rays. And this is how I've differentiated the movement for the horse, people and vehicle and the service. So the service is present throughout, like around the site, and the horse movement is like from the stables to the track and back to the stables. And this is the vehicle and people movement where there's parking and grandstand.
Okay.
And I designed-wise, I have mainly worked on stables and the grandstand. So for stables, the concept of grandstand is like a building in motion, like how a horse gallops. And let me explain when I show the design. So this is my master plan. So this is the main track area and the stable area overlooking it. So there's views for the people in the grandstand to even look at the stables and the horses. And this is my track design according to international standards. So I've taken a British international standard because that is the one India follows, and also continues to train the horses. Yeah, this is my stable design where I've put six tables together so that they have an inner private ring where the horses can practice their running and trotting, and they don't have to travel somewhere else, which is what happens in all other race courses. And there are different feed rooms and hot stalls for each stable. This is my grand plan. So I've divided it into 3 sections, where this is for the general class A, which will be the lowest and also cheaper seating. And my grandstand has a occupation capacity for 20,000, and this has been taken with assuming that a 25% rise for the next 10 years. And yeah, so gradually there's the balcony rises, the glass rises. So it's class B for the first floor, and for general class A 5,000 capacity, and the topmost floor is for the VIP and members lounge. And here there's restaurants and multi-purpose spaces coming here, which can be rented out or used to generate revenue throughout the year. So here, this is the roof structure for the grandstand. It is steel truss that's supported on 3 columns attached to a base plate, and it has white roof membrane. And the shape of the roof makes sure that all the rainwater, also there's easy drainage for the rainwater. And also here there's a drainage plan too, to make sure that the water can come every time there's rain, the water can be dispersed off into the lake. So yes, this is my design.
Okay, Yashaswini.
And this is the paddock and veterinary. Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. Okay, thank you, Yashaswini. Sai Darshan?
Yes, sir.
Share the screen. Yashaswini, thank you. You can leave. Ankura, you can leave. Shreyas, be ready.
Yes, sir.
Sai Darshan, you can share.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sai Darshan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So is it visible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir. My topic is
short.
Sir?
It should be short.
Yes, sir. Yes. My topic is palliative care center. Basically, the palliative care center is one which The patient for patient this is the third one for the patient who suffering from the illness. Um, the palliative care center is not only for cancer patients; it's also for the patient who suffering from the disease which don't have any cure. Uh, and in India, there is a uh, for palliative care center is less. So
Sai Darshan? Sai Darshan?
yes, sir.
ಹೇಳಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ.
Uh, my this so after that I studied that um, more literature, more studies about the hospice care centers in the
Sai Darshan, just tell what are your aims and objectives and go to your proposal design.
yes, yeah, ma'am. My main aim is to provide the enjoyment of life when they are in their last stages. This is the main aim for me, and uh, this inspires one of my study inspires to make this project. It's Maggie's Care Center, in which there is a no. This is basically there is not an hospital or an trust. It's an home feel after in their last stages. And I selected one of the live project from. So it's in the live project is it's in Bhubaneswar, in Odisha. Uh, there is no in Odisha there is no hospice care center still now. But the Odisha government and Info Valley has tie up with and they provided 40 acres of land for free, and they are expecting the same as the Karunashraya. It's one of the best hospice care center in India. It's in Bangalore. They are expecting the same planning and the same concept like structure in Odisha. So the Karnashaya one which designed by Sanjay Moi, it's in Martali, Bengaluru, and uh, from which I inspired the most of the connectivity and the link between the healing through nature. And the buildings are uh, uh, every dormitory of the this Karashaya is visible to water body, and another side is visible to nature. And coming to site, first site, this is located in Odisha. And in Odisha there is a more climate. From coming to climate, this is a harsh climate of sun. And it is from it and the strength of this site is it's located in outskirts of the Odisha, so that there is a no traffic sound. And coming to zoning, for zoning, I divided it in four blocks. Like one is for dormitory, and one is for this yellow part is for dormitory and care center or day care center, and one is for voluntary stage. In this Karnashaya, there is a one culture like called voluntaries. In if every week the volunteers comes to Karnashaya and inspires the patient to live long, and this will boost the willpower of the patients. And one more block is called admin block. These four blocks are interlinked between the in three blocks is interlinked between the water body. um, yeah, ma'am. This is the master plan. In this master plan, I show that the every my basic concept is because of the harsh climate in Odisha. I connected every block with a water body, so the heat will cut down. Yeah, sir.
Next,
This
continue.
is the entrance, and from directly from main entrance, they connected to the admin block and the parking area here. And this is the daycare center. Oh, yes. Coming to ground floor plan, in ground floor plan there is a ground floor plan they're provided with the attached dormitories and the single rooms. It's divided. Yes, sir.
Nothing, continue.
Yes, sir. And every dormitories and the rooms are connected with view either side views. Like one side is the water view and another side is the courtyard inside in between the two dormitories. And every dormitories have a personal, have a separate care, and there is a common living area for everyone to gather one side, and create the some divisions, like one is for courtyard and one is for common area like recreation and things. And in backyard of the dormitories and all, I provided with a meditation area and walking space. And coming to daycare center, in daycare center I provided with for all, provided with only the recreation areas and the uh, sleeping for sleeping, but there is a two rooms and therapy rooms in daycare. And for daycare and the dormitories thing, there is a common block is connected. It's the medical care and dining thing. So if our dining, the food is directly supplied to the room for every patient, and there is a common kitchen for every block. And there is a this common block is connected through corridors. uh,
Next.
Yes, sir. And in admin block, I provided with the all the common area and waiting area for waiting area and reception, and the one small doctor main doctor's room. Um, Coming to first floor, only the dormitories and the daycare center will come in the first floor. So the as like the same as ground floor. These are the dormitory plan and the section.
Next, go down.
Yes, sir. This is the care center, in which I provided with the four therapy centers and one recreation space. In the first floor of care center, I provided with small rooms if in case they can sleep. Uh, yes, sir. This is the main section, overall section of the site. That's it.
Okay. Okay, Sai Darshan, thank you. You can leave. Shreyas,
Yes, sir.
share the screen.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. My thesis topic is multimodal transit hub. So the main aspect of choosing Bangalore as the main like study area for me was based on like background study and also the current situation which we all are facing, like about traffic and the time which we like spend on daily basis. So being a citizen of the city, so I wanted to give a solution for a small solution for the city which influence both tangible and intangible aspects. So coming to the background, so as we know, the Bangalore has started off with garden city, and then due to industrial and IT hubs coming, and there's a lot of urban sprawl happening across the city, and you can see a lot of people coming from the rural background on a daily basis, traveling from like some 50 to 60 kilometers away from the city. And what's happening is due to less in roads and also lack of demand supply between the public, the population, and also the transportation. So there's a lot of scope in usage of personal vehicles. So in order to reduce it, I'm proposing this proposal as multi-modal transit hub. So the main need and benefit is the concept is MTH. So MTH is basically like if we compare with the Bangalore city, so the regional center which we can compare as Majestic, and as and when the city is growing, we need sub units. Like for example, if we compare with the railway network, like Majestic is share like from Majestic, Yeshwanthpur railway station is sharing the load. So in the same way, in the bus and the road transportation, we need something as the sub units which shares the load and also reduce the traffic movement and the time consumed by the public within the city. So the main concept of MTH is basically it's bridging the more different modes of transportation, but not in tangible aspects like photo bridges, but also in intangible. Where if you compare with Singapore, they have a single ticket system, irrespective of which mode are you traveling. They have one single system, so they can start off with bus, they can end up with metro. So, but using that single system, they can negotiate the time and the ticketing process. And coming to the multimodal transit hub has to be, I personally feel it has to be has PPP, that is public-private partnership, because it's a huge chunk and there'll be a lot of investment which will happen within the compound. So what will happen in order, apart from just having the transportation and communication spaces, I thought of giving commercial and retail spaces also in the top floors, which will gives an economic support to the government also, and gives an what happens is when the peak hours is not happening in the lower levels, the entire space will be underutilized. So in that time, the shopping and retail or office spaces will be accommodating and corporate, like giving the balance for the economic aspect. And coming to the zone, like which place I have chosen is Biopnally. The main proof aspect is I have taken like 4 maps. That's like from different modes. That is from metro, that is BMRCL, and suburban, the proposed upcoming suburban, that is K-Ride, and Karnataka Transport, that is KSRTC, and road transport, as BMTC. So all the maps are taken from the official website, and also have gone through the directorate of urban land transport, that is DULT, which they have overlapped and give you an idea of the future road transportation, which helped me a lot to choose the site. So these are the maps from the point of view of intermodal transit hub and intercity bus transport, suburban, metro, and railways. Like overlapping all the things, I can see a lot of similarities, which a lot of modes are getting integrated in Biopnally. So this mode of integration and the footfall, which you can see, it's as per the proposal, which is mentioned in the respective websites, around 2050. So keeping the future aspect, I am designing the problem, because this is like the openly like public space which we can't restrict the intakes or the footfall. You can't restrict and design the space. So this is the major task which you have to like which I have taken care. And this is the site selection which you get the ideal idea of the metro, that is purple line, and green, red, and brown is the suburban lines. And then this Biopnally, this the railway station which you can see is the proposed Sir M. Visvesvaraya railway station, which will be taking the load of Majestic and Yeshwanthpur. So integrating all this, there are like so many networks which is happening. So I thought of proposing a multimodal transit hub in Biopnally. So this is the basic introduction about the site, address, zone, which zone based on administration which falls. And also coming to the access, they have 3 road access from south, west, and east. And from the south, they have pedestrian access from the Old Madras Road through road over bridge, the basic foot bridge connecting from metro, like this Byapnali metro station, Old Madras Road on the side. So, and coming to the land use, this is like kind of justification which the government is also proposing the project like this in Byapnali, comparing the revised master plan of 2015 and 2031, that you can see here, like the empty land and also the land use which is proposed. And coming to the site, aspect, the site has a slope of 8 meters, which is ranging from 908 meters towards the west and 900 meters towards the east. So the quantity difference is 8 meters. And you can see the site history and the timeline along 2001, 2011, and 2021. What all development has been come. Like before there was empty, and then metro came, and then now they are proposing the uh, multimodal transport hub, which is like intercity bus terminal and also a local terminal. So coming to the site, as of now, the BMR sale has occupied the site to construct all the flyover works which are required for the flyover works near East Bangalore, that is from Babnagar to Whitefield and from airport to Silkboard railway network. And these are the few details of softscape and hardscape which I can work on while designing. And coming to the macro analysis and micro analysis, you can see this is the site, and these ROBs are the proposed ROBs which are getting constructed in next few years, because there's lack of access to the Assam Visual railway station at present scenario. So this would also help for the site access to the like to the site from like feeder services where people can come in and then go to the respective destination using other modes of transportation, and HAL, and then some Vivekananda metro station. And then micro analysis is where we can see the Bayapnali suburban railway station, Bayapnali metro station, and High Court staff quarters complex, and etc. etc. And coming to this climate study, this basic climate study where the sun path is from southeast to southwest, and then wind direction is from northwest to southwest. And this is the site experience which have clicked lot of images, because the road widths at present scenario they are small, they're narrow. But then as per 2031 revised master plan, they are widening the roads. So keeping that in mind, and they have designed all the spaces. And there's a basic SWOT analysis of strength, weakness, and opportunities and threat. Strength is basically being the site situating in the major zone where it's integrating with other modes has its major value. And weakness is basically it doesn't have a direct view from the old Madras road, because metro and suburban railway station is there in between. And coming to the opportunities, it has a lot of scope of interconnecting for the people to transfer from one place to other. The threat is basically because there's so much of footfall which will happen which will be coming into the site. There'll be in questions of security and circulation. So that has been taken care while designing. And this is the basic bylaws. These are the screenshots, and this is the basic bylaws of the site. The site area is 24.5 acres. Yeah, maximum FAR is 1.5, built up area is 1.5 lakh square meters. Setback is 9 meters, height restriction is 26 meters, and ground coverage is 45%. But being the study of the other case study which I have done, after finished designing, I have personally felt the ground coverage is restricted within 20% only, and the parking is one car space per 100 square meters. And this is the basic this is the detailed area calculation which I have done. The one major difference from area calculation for the other conventional buildings what we do, and this is basically there we can restrict the number and design, I mean do the calculation based on the restricted footfall. But here we have to consider the major footfall, and based on the footfall we have to design the spaces. So this design is prepared uh, as per the documents of 2050, which are from the websites which I have taken. And ideal parking, feeder services above open spaces, retail and commercial spaces are also given, and local bus terminal and ISBT. So both the bus terminals have the scenario of designing the bus terminals. That's like based on the number of buses entering this compound, like per hour. So that is more than 300 one buses is large, and then 61 to 30, 300 is medium size, and smaller size is less than 60 buses which are entering to the compound. So both the stations as of now it's coming under medium, and I have taken the overlap period of local buses as 5 to 10 minutes, where the frequency of buses is that much, and frequency of buses in ISBT is 10 to 30 minutes. And coming to the zoning of the site zoning, so this is the basic circulation which have pattern which have worked on from the bus entering and the passengers and offloading, and then ideal parking, and all the other spaces which public will go through, and also the feeder services and the office and staff, and the business aspect where all the business dealings will happen as well. And coming to the zone, I have segregated the entire site based on public, semi-public, and private zones. So here, the intercity bus terminal I have and public transportation is towards the roadside, where it's easy to access for the people to go to metro, also the suburban. And ISBT arrival bays are here, where they get down and then they can directly access the other modes. And the departure bays are here, so the people has to go there and then depart. And these are the ideal bus space. And for the local, I have incorporated even the electric aspect, where like electric charging units are also placed in ideal parking. And workstation is where all the repair works and maintenance works will happen. And solar trees, so the main I'll explain it in later, like the next slide. And the services, and then the main building will have all the floor plates. So the main building zoning, what I have done is, in the lower, the ground floor is the entire thing is terminal zone. And coming to the first G+1 to G+3 is retail and commercial zone, where all the shopping aspects have incorporated, because it will balance the economic aspect for the people to operate the entire infrastructure. And also office and co-working space in the G+4 to G+5, and also accommodation area. This is the there's a lot of counter difference here of around 8 meters. So below, I have incorporated the accommodation for the bus staff, and in the G+4 and 5, I have accommodated for the commuters. So that's the hotel spaces. So coming to the main design aspects which I have incorporated within the building is design energy, like energy efficiency by design. So these are the aspects which I have incorporated, like building shape and orientation is along the functionality and circulation, and optimum window wall ratio. That's I have regulated the openings of the sides of each and every wall based on the wind direction and the harsh sunlight and the like the less sunlight which falls on that surface of the wall. So, and insulating walls and roofs. So all the walls and roofs are insulated by keeping all the basic HVAC system, and then daylight spaces with efficient windows. So I have incorporated all the skylight zones, where I'm incorporating even the central green space, which also gives the basic venture effect, is incorporated within the city, within the building. And smart building systems like solar, electric charging points are incorporated. And these are the few details of solar PV system, and green design strategy, and permeable road system. So what is happening is, across the entire space of the site, so there's lot of hardscape more than the softscape. So in the hardscape, what I have done, I have proposed a permeable road system, where all the bus and the vehicles which roam around. So though all those roads are constructed with permeable road system, where they can channelize the water and they can store the water within the space in the service zone. And then the indoor landscape and the vertical gardens, it's incorporated within the building inside in the courtyard. So this is the master plan, where ISBT offloading and local bus terminal activities happen here, and staff for four-wheeler parking, and public four-wheeler parking, and two-wheeler parking, and loading base of ISBT, and ideal ideal parking base of local transport and intercity, like KSRTC bus parking. And this area is I have utilized for solar trees, where they can generate power for the efficient amount which the building wants. So basically, I wanted to make it to a zero energy building. So no energy has to come from outside the building. So all the required amount is utilized within the building itself.
On the proposal is done.
Hello, ma'am.
So
Hello.
yes, go ahead. Next proposal
Yeah.
is this part. Continue. Speed up.
Little faster.
Little faster.
Okay, sir. So this is the suburban roof pattern which I have designed. And coming to the floor plates, this zone is the ticketing and the concourse area, and this is the public concourse area, and this is the waiting period, and this is the cafeteria zones which I have incorporated. So this is basically local bus station and ISBT bus station, and this is the transition period which connects with the suburban building, and this is the lower floor below the ground floor where I have utilized completely for the staff and the services accommodation. And coming to the this one is completely commercial aspect where they can play with the spaces, how much they can rent out, and these are the commercial and retail spaces which I have allotted. And coming in the top floor, this part I have categorized the entire hotel space into three categories. That is premium. That is premium mini and standard rooms. And coming to the elevations, so these are the sections. So the entire restriction is 25 meters, and the entire roof is occupied with solar panels, which will generate electricity to the within the building. And so here are the elevations which you can see. Those openings are differing. The size of opening is differing based on the phase which wind direction and all of that, all four sides. And these are the few views which have this thing. And this is the central, like central green spaces which I wanted to create, which will act as a barrier and also reduce the population which will be emitted from the bus vehicles. And this is the suburban station, and these are the like four aspect, and this is the lower area which you can see that and the ramp is created. So that's it, man. These are the views.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Shreyas. You can
Okay,
leave.
sir.
Yeah, you can leave.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. You can leave, Shreyas. Ma'am, Nalini, ma'am.
Uh,
So can we leave or will we discuss here, ma'am?
We can
No, I
discuss here.
think
We can.
So
We can
students are
discuss
not there.
whatever, whatever sir and ma'am, all of them.
yes, whatever sir and
What is the difference
Professor,
there?
yes.
And that can be shortlisted.
Or should we take some time to design and then we will
Huh? We need time to get there.
meet again?
Or can we take it from here?
I can discuss here only.
Ah,
Or you want me to discuss with the
no, it's your, you can decide, sir. Your decision. You can tell if you want to discuss something.
Gayatri,
Sir,
what
is it done?
Sir, all the presentation is over. Now, should we discuss among us and come back to you, or should we discuss now only?
Sir?
Ramesh sir.
Ramesh, sir?
We'll close this session, sir. Afterwards, we'll.
Okay, sir.
We can close this session and. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We'll come.
We can close this session now,
Yes,
and
sir.
maybe afterwards we'll discuss and finalize the.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It is good that we will discuss and come back. I have noted down some points.